The pitch today looks very good. It's a nice dry wicket.
Magnificent shot, Greg Chappell. Beautiful placement.
Jeez, what about that? Listen to the crowd now. They're into him.
He's not happy. He's not at all happy.
You would not believe that that was possible.
Should be caught. Could be caught. It's happening.
Hello and welcome to this special episode of Random Cricket Photos that make my guests happy. Well, today is 31st December 2020. Not the best of the year for a lot of people, but something that has happened in this year is that some cricket has happened somehow, and we are glad that it has happened. And a few days back, I guess a week ago, I asked on my social media, I asked some of the followers on my social media to send across photos from this year that they think define this year's cricket. And well, I would be very honest, I didn't get a lot of responses, but one person who responded, and well, he didn't only respond with one photo, he sent across a number of them and he described them very beautifully. So I thought, well, let's chuck the idea of me talking about the photos sent by people. I would rather talk to Ravi Trivedi, who has sent across those photos. And well, here he is. Ravi, welcome to the show. Welcome to this episode of Random Cricket Photos that make my guests happy. You are the guest for the day. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And tell us about yourself. Tell us where you come from, about your cricket story, about your love for the game.
Firstly, it's an absolute pleasure to be with you on this show. Given the year that 2020 was, your posts and your regular photos that were there from the archives, they sort of made this year a little bearable. I always used to look forward to those stories, especially during the lockdown, because I think some of your best stories came out during the lockdown. So it's really a pleasure to be
Well, we
meeting
all
you.
needed some solace from... Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm interested about your love for cricket, because I can totally see that there is a lot of it in the way you put across, in the way you have put across those thoughts behind those photographs. So
Yeah.
tell me about that. Tell me about your cricket story and where are you based out of?
So I'm based out of Mumbai, and talking about my cricketing story, I actually fell in love with the game on a day when India suffered a crushing defeat. So this is '99
God,
when
what was it?
India were playing Pakistan in that Asian Test Championship, and I think India was chasing some 270 odd in Chennai, and Sachin Tendulkar, as always, as was the case in the '90s, he was anchoring the chase and he was leading India towards a win. But once he fell, we just imploded, and it was a very shocking loss thereafter. We had a terrible batting collapse, and we lost that game. So I remember I was 8 years old then, and I cried a river. I really cried a river because I could not believe what happened. I think we were 255 for 4 or something like that, and then we collapsed and we just lost the game.
Then Man
Like,
Mungia played that shot, then Sachin got out and everything, and he just
I
felt
I
like a
just could
heap of
not
cards.
believe it. I could not believe what was happening. But then I think we made amends in the next test by winning at Delhi, with Kumble taking that fifer. And from there on, it has been a long-standing love affair with cricket, especially Indian cricket. It's given so many moments over the years that it's proud to be an Indian cricket fan as such. Haven't really played
That's
that much
lovely.
cricket. Would have loved to be able to show some skills on the field as well, but I think that is something that I really lack at.
That's fine. I mean, that's a lot of us, and possibly that's why the love for the game is so much, and that's why the respect for the game, the respect for cricketers is so much. But yeah, we are all fans. And talking about this particular series, now that you have talked about it, there's a very particular interesting story related to this series. I think I would like to talk about it now that you have touched upon that series. So you know the conditions in which that series happened. Of course, the Kargil War happened a few months later, but even then there was a lot of consternation that Pakistan was touring India, especially Shiv Sena was against
Yeah.
the tour from happening, and they staged a protest against it. And Lal Krishna Advani actually had to go and pretty much do the firefighting work. And just a week before Pakistan arrived, Shiv Sena said, "Okay, we take our protest back." So they said that, they threatened in many ways in which they would ensure that the matches do not take place. One way through which they said that they will make sure that the matches do not take place is we leave snakes on the field. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So in Chennai, there was like extremely tight security, although they had taken the protest back. But then, if the party had taken the protest back, there could be some fringe elements who could, do something like that. So there was that danger of snakes being, left on the field. And in Delhi, especially because of this threat, so 16 men from Delhi, ka Sapera Basti, they were hired, and they sat, on the sidelines to ensure that in case a snake is left on the field, they will go with their basera and all and pick it up. And so that was the situation surrounding that series. And well, nothing of that sort happened. The snakes, the only spitting cobra that came out in Delhi was through Anil Kumble and who took 10 wickets. So yeah, that's a very special series. Of course,
fascinating anecdote. Yeah. I mean, I've seen play being
war and everything.
I've seen play being disrupted by bees. I've seen play being disrupted by a dog coming onto the field. But a snake would have been a very scary proposition altogether.
Well, just imagine that happening in an India-Pakistan match. So, Ravi, we'll quickly move to the photos. We'll quickly move to the, that is on the agenda. 2020, a year when we did not see as much cricket as we would have liked to see, especially during the lockdown. We didn't even know that whether we would be able to see some cricket or not. But then the England-West Indies tour happened, then IPL happened, and now Australia-India is happening. So there have been enough cricketing action to at least give us pictures. So you are the one who has sent across those pictures. Tell me how it was for you in 2020, like not only on cricketing level, but also personally. Are you saying good riddance as the year goes out of the window tonight?
Well, to describe 2020 in a nutshell, I can say that it was very much like the English weather, topsy-turvy. You never know what's going to happen the next minute, So that is how this year has gone by. Talking about the personal front, it was sort of good because I recently changed my job during the lockdown. So that was a decent achievement that I had. Other than that, I really miss sport a lot because, the kind of life that we live usually, weekdays, there is nothing really that cheers you up. But on weekends, there is sport, there is cricket matches, there are football matches, there is something to look forward to. And, this sort of brings a smile to your face. So those months between, say, March and August when there was no cricket, I think March and July, I believe, when there was no cricket, seemed very boring. There are only so much highlights that you can possibly watch, right? After the point of time, even those highlights sort of get repetitive. So yeah, that is how it was. And as I said, your regular posts, they were a tonic to sort of keep going, and they always brought a smile on the face. Especially, I love that post that I think you had posted one picture of Inzamam. He was sat somewhere and he had a T-shirt which read "Eat, Sleep, Gym." That was very ironic because you don't expect someone like an Inzamam to have anything to do with the gym.
Yeah, he's possibly right out of a fitness training, session, and he's all sweaty and with a bottle of water. And yeah, it's a funny picture, but I mean, he's much more than his weight and he's much more than his build. So great player. Yeah. Anyway, so tell us about picture number 5 on that list.
So the pictures that I've selected have all been in keeping the theme of 2020 and how the year was. So you'll get to see a lot of things that, in 2020, we as fans experience, you getting to be able to see on the field by way of cricketing. So I'll start with picture number 5, which is prior to the COVID situation. And it's actually a very heartwarming picture. This picture is pre-COVID. This is from the T20I series between India and New Zealand that took place in New Zealand. So, this was a 5-match T20I series because we were supposed to have the T20 World Cup this year. So keeping in mind, the build-up to the mega tournament, there were a lot of T20I series being held, and so India decided to play 5 T20Is versus New Zealand. So India had already won the series 4-0. They were leading the series, and this was the final game of the series. having won the having won the series comfortably, Virat decided to sit this one out, and Rohit Sharma was leading the team. And unfortunately for New Zealand, Kane Williamson had suffered a shoulder injury, and he was sidelined. So the advantage of this was we got this picture. The advantage of both of these gentlemen not playing is we got this picture. And I like to call this picture the gift of T20 cricket. You know, it's two captains going beyond boundaries, beyond the boundary. Imagine it's a T20 game. You know, a T20 game is a thriller minute game. There's a lot of stuff happening, fervent action, and yet you have one man who's aggressive, in the face, always wants to be in the game. He's sitting calmly with another gentleman from the other side who's also having a chat with him. And we also have a young Rishabh Pant, by the way, who was sort of struggling at the time, trying to, get in as many notes as possible from these two. So this was a very heartwarming picture because, as I said, Williamson is the kind of guy you would expect to uphold the traditions of the game. Somebody who's, very calm, is in the classic mold. Kohli, on the other hand, is somebody who's in the face. He's tatted all around. He's very aggressive. Yet you see over here, very calm, exchanging a few notes, reminiscing some old times back from their, 2008 World Cup at the under-19 level. So this is a very heartwarming picture.
This is happening few months after New Zealand booted India out of the World Cup in 2019.
Absolutely, that is right. Yeah.
But yeah, actually, very true. It's the era of teams mingling, players getting to know each other better because of these leagues, and it's a very beautiful picture. And I'm really interested, to see Rishabh Pant in that conversation. It's actually as if he's there with the giants of the game, trying to learn as much, absorb as much as he can. So yeah, interesting picture. What are your opinions on Rishabh Pant? He's a polarizing figure, right? So
Right.
it's an interesting question when every time you think about Rishabh Pant and the amount of talent that he has, but the returns have been not so bright. So what is your take on Rishabh Pant?
I still think he's got a lot of time on his side. So he surely can make the necessary improvements that are required in his game. One thing that I really feel is that at times he really goes for a shot too many. If you look at the 2019 World Cup semi-final, which you mentioned, I think him and Hardik were having a very good partnership. But that is when he tried to play that slog sweep and he got caught, I think, in the deep. So there are times when he sort of plays on that edge a little too much. Maybe if he can, sort of be a little calculative in terms of which bowler he wants to go after, or sort of look at, building partnerships by way of working the gaps. I think that is something which will really help him in the long stint, because the talent is pretty much there. That is there for everybody to see. I mean, he has a test 100 in Australia. He has a test 100 in England. So he is cut out for it. There is absolutely no doubt about it. The one thing that he can improve on is his temperament. And I think that will only happen the more he plays. The more he plays with the likes of Kohli, the more he gets notes from the likes of Williamson on instances like this, or when he plays for his franchise, he speaks to the likes of Dhawan, he speaks to the likes of Shreyas Iyer. That is how he's going to improve. And he's got Ponting as his mentor at Delhi. So he's going to only improve, I think.
I agree with you with the time factor, that he has a lot of time in hand, and I think we also need to be a little patient with him. Of course, the talent is there, and that's why the expectations. But then we also need to realize that we should not be trying to find another Dhoni in him. We should let him develop into a Rishabh Pant. So yeah, I mean, it would be great for Indian cricket if Rishabh Pant can actually fulfill the expectations. He can, and whatever talent he has a lot of it, right? So yeah, if he can reach the full potential, that would be great. What's the next picture? Tell us about it.
Right. So this picture is from the Sydney cricket ground. This is from March. So, I think the first case of COVID in China was reported somewhere in November. But all through November, December, and perhaps Jan, people thought that, people were listening to a lot of rumors about this disease. That, maybe it's going to be confined to China. Maybe it's going to be confined to certain parts of the world. But, with the flights being open, with people commuting all around the world, it was gradually catching up and gradually it was spreading. So through the month of Feb, there were a lot of disruption in sport. I think football had started to take place behind closed doors. There was contemplation about postponing the Olympics. There was talk about sort of postponing the IPL, and the fear was sort of building. And obviously, there were a lot of rumors, courtesy social media these days, that this virus spreads very quickly. It is deadly. It can cause a lot of damage and all of that. And in that backdrop, this series took place between Australia and New Zealand in Australia, and this match was being played at the Sydney Cricket Ground. So prior to this series, Kane Richardson from the Australian squad, he had to be pulled out because he was complaining of a throat ache. Not sure whether he was diagnosed for COVID or not, but he had to be pulled out. And there was all these rumors doing the round that don't shake your hands, you need to sanitize them from time to time, you need to maintain social distance. And then, of course, when you have a cricket match, you have the customary tradition of the captains coming together at the toss, shaking their hands. And out of their tradition, Williamson and Finch shook their hands. And the minute they did that, they realized, oh my God, what did we just do? And you can see the shock on Finch's face. Do I really have to go and sanitize my hands again? Williamson was also wondering, what did I just do? So this picture sort of encapsulates 2020 as a whole, Don't shake hands with anybody. Just stay as distant as you possibly can.
Social distancing.
Yeah, and it is also weird, Amit, if you see that there are no spectators at all in the stands. That is one thing that
exactly. What I was coming to, I remember this happening, I guess, within 20 days of that World Cup final, World T20 final, Women's World T20 final, 86,000 people at MCG and everything. And then this happened, and suddenly we saw the SCG. It's a huge stadium, right? The Sydney Cricket Ground. All of it empty, and we were laughing about how the players have to go and fetch the ball themselves. And then it became a norm. It's even now, like, we are glad that crowds are being allowed now in the India-Australia Test series, but in other places it's still the same. So now it has become an accepted thing. We have sort of ingrained it. But yeah, initially it was such a jarring sight, to see the players go and fetch the ball. So yeah, and the expression on Finch's face, that's like amazing.
Yeah. That's what makes, that's what this picture encapsulates 2020 as a whole.
What did I do?
Yeah. Do I have to go and do a hand wash again?
Yeah, and what if I have given you COVID? Yeah, seriously,
Right.
such times, man.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
So we did touch upon fans being absent from stadiums and that being very unusual, and pardon. Yeah,
No.
fans being absent from the stadiums and that being something very unusual, and how that can be such a thing that cricketers will miss. But talk about fans. Look at how much fans can miss when they are not allowed in the stadium. So these two pictures, this is a combination of two pictures, is from the Pakistan tour of England in August and September. So England, as it is, Amit, it's a very difficult place to visit. The conditions are against you. You have a very strong team that keeps going at you, that keeps chipping at you. There's a lot of media scrutiny as well. And as it is, Asian teams historically, they do not have a very good record when they tour England. And on top of that, you have to contend with fans not being there in the stadium.
Exactly.
So
And especially for teams like Pakistan and India, because they do get a good amount of support. Subcontinental teams thrive on that. So yeah.
Yeah, so they thrive on as you said, they thrive on the energy that the crowd brings in. And unfortunately, that was missing. But that really could not stop these two gentlemen over here. So the gentleman on the left that you see who's playing the dhol, it's from the 1st of September. I think there was a T20 match between Pakistan and England at Old Trafford. And he's trying to egg on Pakistan by playing the traditional dhol that you usually see in PSL matches. I've especially seen this whenever there's a PSL match featuring Lahore Qalandars, there is somebody who's there with this dhol. So it's that dhol which sort of eggs you on. And the gentleman on the right, this picture is from the test match. So I think there was a test match between England and Pakistan at Old Trafford. And, this guy was playing a sax at the Old Trafford station. Interestingly, the one with the dhol was the one that Pakistan won. The one with the sacks was the one in which Pakistan actually imploded. They did a Pakistan. I think England had a target of
Yeah, I remember
277 to
this.
chase. Yeah. That partnership between Vokes and Butler. Now, the interesting thing that I'm trying to bring out over here is, see, for the players, it's very important when someone cheers you on like this. But imagine these guys. You've got the talent, There are, say, around 400, 500 Pakistan fans gathering around you, cheering you for the talent that you've got. That's a very special moment for you. For all you know, if there is a,
Yes.
Shoaib Malik at the boundary, or there's a Mohammad Amir at the boundary, and he gives you an applause for the brilliant dhol that you've been playing, or the sax that you've been playing. It really lifts them. But unfortunately, they had to contend with not being there. But still, they showed enough spirit to be behind their team at the station, and they made as much noise as they possibly could in supporting their team.
And I'm so glad that someone from the media, whoever was there, picked it, because look, this guy is performing outside the arena, right? I'm pretty sure that they were not allowed inside, but he has the to use in Pakistani lingo, jazba, to be there and do this
Yeah.
cheer, and he's possibly not being able to even watch the match, I believe. So, but the fact that he got whatever limelight he did is because of the people who clicked these photos. So I'm pretty happy that he got
Somebody-
that limelight, because he deserves for his spirit. He deserves that for his spirit.
Amit, one more interesting story. So you see the gentleman on the left. Hello. Yeah. He looks
Yeah.
somewhat like Lionel Messi. Okay. Now,
He does.
so I'll tell you what. This was in the month of September, this T20I match that I mentioned. And at around that time, Messi announced that he'll be leaving Barcelona. He does not want to stay with Barcelona anymore. There were rumors in the media. And there were rumors linking him to Manchester City, which is a club based in Manchester where the match was being played. So on Twitter, there were many tweets which mentioned that Messi has already
Conspiracy
arrived.
theories.
Yeah, absolutely. They had already linked Messi to Manchester, and he'd already arrived with the dhol and all to celebrate the occasion. So
Yeah, he's a bit of a, because another person who is often said to resemble Messi is Yasser Shah, at least when he was a lot leaner and fitter. So he looks somewhat like Yasser Shah and Lionel Messi. So interesting photograph is an interesting conspiracy theory.
True.
Next photograph, tell me.
Fair enough. So, whenever anybody talks about the IPL, the first line that comes to everybody's mind is talent meets opportunity. Over the course of the last 13 seasons, players from the remotest corners of India have come and put their cities on the Indian cricketing map, and they've captured the limelight, and they've had the opportunity to brush their shoulders with the big wigs of the game. Now, by no small measure is Imran. So everything said and done, Imran Tahir is an absolute legend of the white ball game. He's got close to 300 wickets, I think, in white ball cricket. And even in the IPL, A, for his, trademark celebration, and B, for the way he bowls. I think he was a Purple Cap winner in 2019. So he's
For Chennai, he
Yeah.
took a lot of wickets last year. Yeah.
Yes. So he's a bona fide legend of the IPL. Now, this was a peculiar situation for him in 2020, because the matches were not being played in Chennai and they were being played in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and all of that. He did not get that many opportunities for large parts of the season. I think he played just 3 matches the whole of IPL. He was on the bench. And, in particular, I think Chennai lost both their games to Rajasthan, right? So that is what this picture is all the more special. Here you have, I would call him a stalwart of the modern game. He's not been able to feature as regularly for his team. His team has just lost the game. And here he is sharing advice with a nondescript 19, 20-year-old youngster. I'm saying the word nondescript because I know this guy has potential, Riyan Parag. I mean, that innings against Sunrisers was special. But he's yet to make that name on the bigger stage. He'll need some time to sort of make the name. Yet, Tahir took out time after the match was over and he shared some very valuable tips with him. He spent a good amount of time, showed him what kind of variations need to be bowled, showed him, he even waited to see whether this guy was able to bowl the way Tahir taught him. And he was sort of trying to encourage him that what variation would work what way. So this is a very heartwarming picture, and this sort of represents what the IPL is all about. It cuts across countries, it cuts across franchises, and it's natural for you to expect bonds within a team. Say, for example, a Hardik Pandya and a Pollard would bond because very similar personalities. Faf
And they have been
Duplessis.
playing together for quite a lot of time.
Absolutely. A Faf Duplessis and a Dhoni would bond because they are thinkers of the game. They are generally very calm, collected about themselves. But here you have a 39-year-old Imran Tahir, who's not even from the
I think
same
he's
team.
older than that, isn't he?
I think he
Yeah,
is.
but
So I'm not-
I get the point.
yeah. And here you have a 20-year-old, from another team altogether. And yet he's taking out the time and trying to teach him that, how you should be bowling. So this is a beautiful picture.
Indeed. And Imran Tahir is your definition of a journeyman cricketer. I guess if you go to his cricket profile, if you count the number of teams that he has represented, it's easily more than 55, right? So he is like, he has vast amounts of experience, and I think he would make for a great coach whenever he decides to quit the game. He has a lot of energy to keep continuing with the game. So, but I think the amount of experience he has of representing different teams, of playing in different conditions, he would make for a good coach. And I think this photo actually shows that he has that sort of a spirit to go and teach a young guy who needs learning, who needs guidance. And that's beautiful photograph. And as you said, this is what IPL stands for. So many young cricketers get to share the dressing room with so many greats of the game and learn from that. And then when they come to the international stage, they look way more prepared than people who made their debuts, say, 20 years ago. So it's a boon to Indian cricket, not just Indian cricket, but for
cricket in general.
all of the
And
world's cricket.
if you look at it, this is also very unselfish of him. If you look at it that way, it's not like he's going to represent his team in some way in the future. He's just going out there.
And I guess at this age, at this point of the career, you are not really looking at those things. You are just trying to help out someone, because possibly someone helped him out at that stage. So maybe that's the case. And Imran Tahir, anyway, he is known as a cricketer with a big heart. It's not just the way he bowls, but even during the the IPL, a lot of people were trying to figure out where is Imran Tahir. Last year he was their premier bowler and not getting chances. And he put out a tweet that whatever the team wants me to do, I'm happy to do it, even if that means carrying the water bottles, because when I was playing, someone did that for me. So he is that sort of a personality, very warm, big-hearted, and I'm not surprised at all that he is here giving tips to a 20-year-old youngster from a different team after a loss. So beautiful picture.
Yeah.
Next one, tell me, which one is it?
Right. So, Amit, I cannot vouch for your 2020 or my 2020, how it went. I can surely vouch for this gentleman. So, this is from the recent ODI series between India and Australia. And this was the second ODI being played at Sydney. I think in the first match, the Indian bowlers were hammered for around 370 odd. The second match, 380 odd. And there was a lot of gloom and doom because the Indian team had returned to the international fold after a good 8 to 9 months, I think. And, there was not a lot to cheer about in the Indian contingent. But then suddenly during the 20th over of the Indian chase, the camera pans to a certain gentleman in the crowd who's gone down on one knee and asked the question. And what the best part was, I still remember I was watching it. I think Gilchrist was there in the commentary box and he was egging on the girl to say yes. Gilchrist was like, please say yes, please say yes, please say yes. And ultimately she did. And after some time when I checked Twitter, there were people all around the place saying that, although India lost the match, there was one gentleman who won the match of his entire life. Yeah. He won the match of his entire life.
She didn't bash in the way Australia did to India after reaching home. And, why did you put me in a spot? Why did you have to do it in front of so many people where I could not even say no?
So there were 25,000 fans in the stadium. So this picture in a way also.
You need guts to do that.
Indeed. So this picture also tells you in a way why fans being in the stadium is so very important. I mean, imagine if if the fans were not there and something like this were not to happen. Australia know they've put on 380 runs on the board. Between overs, they'll be just going through the motions. They'll be just waiting for something to happen. They could be in the crowd searching for balls when they've been deposited there. But instead, something like this happens, and look at Glenn Maxwell, how much he's enjoying the moment. So for players as well, it is very important to have fans in the stadium, because sometimes with the rhythm of the game not being there, things just going at a mundane pace, and something like this happens, it sort of lifts your spirits up, and it also brings about a different different perspective to the game. So this was.
I mean, exactly. Crowds add so much, it's just not about the noise they make, but they add so much to the experience of watching a cricket match for people from, who are watching it from their homes. So it's just not just the players feed off their energies, but also just the viewing experience is so different when there is something else going on in the background. So,
Indeed. Yes, so that's about it. Those are my 5 pictures of the year 2020.
You have summed up 2020 in a very nice way through those pictures. Cricket in 2020. Today, I was asked to put my 2 favorite pictures from the year, and of course, there have been so many amazing images, and pretty much all the 5 that you have put across are amazing photographs, just for the things that they convey, especially in the context of 2020. But yeah, for me, 2 images that I picked were the 86,000 crowd, that number flashing on the board at MCG when in the women's World T20 final. It was such a big moment for women's cricket, and I feel sad for the fact that just after that Corona happened, and just when we thought that okay, this is the moment when everything begins to turn, things sort of began to slide off. But again, let's be very happy about the fact that 86,000 people came to watch the finale.
And also the number of people.
The finale was not a great experience for me. It brought me back memories from the 2003 World Cup final.
I was going to come to that.
I just don't want to revisit. Shefali Verma hit a 4, and then she got out, and that was like, oh, that's Sachin from 2003. So, but even then, that just the fact that 86,000 people came to MCG, watched a Women's World T20 final, and enjoyed it. That's amazing. And the second photo that I picked was that right after when cricket restarted, the entire Black Lives Matter movement was going on, and the players decided to take a stand. So that was also very powerful. And if you see, it's England versus West Indies, and we know the colonial history, we know all of that. So all of that adds so much to those 2 photographs. So yeah, quite a year this has been, not just because of the pandemic, but what all the pandemic has done to a lot of people. And great set of pictures you have put across, Ravi. Thank you so much. And before you go, what would you like to tell people for 2021? Give me something positive, man.
Well, the vaccine's around the corner. That's what everybody seems to be saying. But I don't really want to talk about dwell on the corona and the vaccine and everything that's been going on for months altogether.
You've done it too much, no?
Yeah. It's there is a word that's doing the round in the media these days, that everybody seems to have got a COVID fatigue. They are tired of seeing the statistics and the precautions and the tips and everything. We've just had enough of it. The only thing I can possibly say is that, sure, it was a year of adversity, but at the end of it, by way of common sense, by way of doing some things right, we all prevailed. We decided to stick to our homes. We decided to get on with whatever we were doing. Work did not stop. We found a way around it. And that is what human endeavor is all about, trying to find a way around every adversity that you have. Even cricket found a way, People were saying whether the IPL would happen or not, whether we'll have to stay a year with absolutely no cricket, but they found a way. They had those bubbles in place. They had, all the measures being taken, tests being done, and we got to see, our favorite players back in action. So all I can say is that, there is a lot of cricket to look forward to in 2021. There's the World Cup coming up as well, the Women's World Cup as well as the Men's T20 World Cup. So yeah, I mean, good times, but nonetheless, we have to not lower our guard and ensure that we follow all the necessary precautions.
Well, there is a Harsha Bhogle in Ravi Trivedi. I sense quite a lot of philosophies there, and very beautifully put. Just the way you had put all those photographs. So thank you so much, Ravi, for joining
Thank you. It was a
joining us for
pleasure.
this very special episode. Even this podcast is a product of the pandemic. I had nothing to do in the pandemic, so I thought, okay, let's try doing this, because I had been posting pictures and posting out stories on the page for a long time, and then I decided, let's do it. Let's give it a try. And well, this is possibly the 20th episode that I'm recording. And so yeah, that the pandemic has brought us here on 31st December 2020. I hope we move to a new year which is better than this, and better things happen to all of us, including you and me. So thank you so much, Ravi, for joining.
It's also poetic the way that you're ending 2020 on the 20th episode.
Yeah, it is.
Fair enough. So wish you a very happy new year and all the very best with your endeavor.
Same to you, Ravi. Have a great year ahead, and I hope you get to see some good cricketing action that makes you happy. And I will try to make you happy with random cricket photos.
Thank you so much.